SEIU Local 521, the General Unit Employees, SEIU Local 2015 IHSS, the Deputy Sheriff's Association Confidential Employees, Confidential Management Employees, Appointed Department Heads, and Unrepresented Employees. The authority to meet can be found in California Governing Code 54957.6, and at this time the board is going to political action.
Thank you, Council. At this time, I will move to item C, presentations of recognition. See none. I will move to item D, public comment. I will look to the clerk of the board. This is the opportunity for any member of the public to address the board on items of interest not appearing on this agenda. No action may be taken unless it is provided by Government Code Section 54954.2. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have Carson Flower.
Councilmember Flower.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and supervisors. My name is Carson Clower. I live on Promise Way in District 3. I also represent the constituents of District 3 on the City Council. There we go. I'm Carson Clower. I live on Promise Way.
Hello, sir. I'm here to kind of give a little background on an issue that a number of the citizens who live on Promise Way have had with the tax collector's office in the last month or so. On the 29th of June, I received a reimbursement payment from my mortgage holder for a substantial amount of money, and I realized that we may have an issue with not paying the supplemental tax bill that you receive after you purchase a home. And the next day I went to the tax collector's office and found out that I had a outstanding bill and I was already delinquent by 2 months, which was a little frustrating since we hadn't received a bill. The tax collector's office stated that they mailed the bill on March 11th. So because we hadn't received it, I started doing a little research, found out that some of my neighbors also hadn't received their bill, and in total there was 6 of us essentially in a row on both sides of the street who were all delinquent. Nobody had paid their bill and nobody had received the bill. I then appealed the delinquent amount, which we had to pay in order to appeal it, which is kind of a frustrating process. And from that point, a few days later, we got the denial. At that point, I decided to go and talk to my neighbors, find out exactly who hadn't received a bill, do a little research, came back. There were 6 of us in total who were, like I said, all delinquent. This process took about 3.5 weeks. Unfortunately, even though I had notified the tax collector's office that there was more citizens than just myself and my wife who didn't receive the bill, nothing was done to notify the homeowners after the fact. I went out even on this last Friday and kind of checked with everybody. Nobody had even received the notice. So I guess my concern is that I'm not sure how many more homeowners or new homeowners there are that didn't receive the supplemental tax bill. There may be more people who are delinquent. Obviously, we'd like to get reimbursed for that amount. Whether that happens or not, the county already has my money, so that's kind of tough. But I think that this may warrant some sort of audit, and at least on the March 11th tax bill sent out, and probably better would be to kind of just check the whole system and make sure there's not something missing. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Clower, for that. I know, Mr. J.O., you are aware of the incident, so we will certainly work to resolve any the discrepancy that obviously has occurred here. So, okay.
Marcy Houston.
Hello, my name is Marcy Houston, and my address is my business address is 190 San Benito Street, and I own the Garden Mart. And I'm frustrated. I'm livid. And I'm a 55-year-old Italian woman, so if I start doing this and start getting really loud, don't be afraid. That's me. But that's where I am right now. Over the last 2 weeks, I've contacted a total of 9 city and county elected officials and a few staff. Of those 9, 8 actually spoke with me on the telephone. 1 didn't return my phone call. And 3 came by my place. So I didn't want to air dirty laundry. Every time I talked to somebody on the telephone, I said, I would like to solve this with a group of people in a meeting, come to my place, see my problem. In 2 weeks, as much as some people said, yeah, we'll talk to somebody, I never received any message back. I was told by the sheriff and the police department to talk to the intergovernmental committee, and I sent an email on the 20th to get that information of when that next meeting was, again, trying to avoid coming in front of all these people, and I will be at City Council Monday night. And I still don't even know when that meeting is because nobody responded. So my problem, and I understand I'm in the city limits, my problem is the fact that the county government is not enforcing the loitering, littering, trespassing, drunk in public, drugged in public, whatever that is, those meth people, sometimes not even wearing clothes, sometimes having sex on my property. And it's the county's responsibility to enforce the laws, and that's not happening. So I do understand the problem because I've had it explained to me of the big problem, but I need a solution to my problem. If you want to continue having businesses in this town, you need to protect your businesses, and you're not. So all the elected officials in town always run on this ticket of, oh, we need more businesses, we need a bigger tax base. And you know what? I'm going to stand up and I'm going to say, but you're not protecting the businesses that you have now. So why do you want to encourage more to come in? Why do we want to shop local? You can't shop local at my place.
If you want to make some concluding remarks, it's okay.
You can't shop local at my place because I'm surrounded by cops, I'm surrounded by trash, or I'm surrounded by homeless people. Do you know how many times people have walked into my place and turned around and walked back out? Do you know how frustrating that is? Because I basically work my ass off, and I have to watch people not want my product because my county government can't protect my private property rights. That's in a nutshell. My conclusion is I'm going to come back here every Tuesday, and I'm going to give you little scenarios of everything that I've dealt with. And I'm going to show you one right now to get it started. I found this in my geraniums. Actually, my daughter found it. Now, you got crazy people running around with these things, except not this one, because this one was in my geraniums. So, it's probably good it was, but why do they have these? And why are they even throwing them over my fence? What if it was during business hours, and what if somebody was standing there?
Okay, now we need to conclude these remarks. Thank you.
That's my conclusion.
Thank you for your comments.
Mr. Chair, shouldn't we have someone talk to Ms. Houston about her situation, or we're just going to let her come to the board and continue to, every Tuesday?
Yeah, I think that, we could handle this the way when we get a public request. I'll meet with our CIO and we could certainly follow up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Do everything we can. Thank you for your comments.
Ms. Schneider?
I'm Mary Schneider, and I'm a Hollister resident, Vice President of the Friends of the Library. As our summer reading program is coming to an end, I wanted to thank Union Bank for sponsoring us with $500, and I want to thank the Silicon Valley Gives efforts. The contributors helped us reach our matching grant through the Community Foundation, and we came $4 short of $2,000. So we had another private sponsor who also helped to bring to buy prizes for the children for their reading awards. And this year, the summer reading program and Storytime, we're partnering with the school district through the USDA summer lunch program for children. So that seemed to be an effort that was appreciated and something innovative. So thanks to all the people who helped us and the volunteers and the staff, it seemed like it was a very fine program. Thank you.
Marty Richmond.
Guess you're not ammunition later. Marty Richmond, Hollister. Saturday morning I had coffee with Dr. Rose, the new president of Gavilan College. And obviously, you all know the history. Frankly, neither the city council nor the board of supervisors have been much help in doing anything about the $26 million they took away from us and used illegally at Morgan Hill. But they have a new president now. We got another opportunity, and I don't hold it against her. Hopefully, the voters will take the board of trustees who were in at the time and send them home with a letter of thanks to say thank you for your service and the job you did on us, and don't come back. As the new president, I think we'll be able to work with her. But what we need to do is get a plan to move ahead, and that means we have to somehow get back what they took away. We're not getting the money back because it's all committed or spent, because both the city and the county didn't move fast enough. You've been warned for years what's going on, and you didn't do anything about it. So now we've got to move ahead. And I suggest you ask Gavilan to put together a 5-year plan to move ahead and to give us more than our fair share, because we've already paid more than our fair share. In addition, we've got supposedly $8 million worth of land sitting there that we're not going to use for 20 years. And that $8 million worth of land, which probably is worth less than $4 million now because they always double pay for everything, is not going to educate one person in this community. It's just going to be land sitting there fallow, doing nothing. That $8 million part of the 5-year plan should be to get rid of that land and use that money somehow in the education of our population. One way they could use it is committed to capital investments for a joint library capitalization to move ahead. $8 million would actually be enough if there were another library bond to pay our share of a $24 million new library, because we would have to pay a third. So that $8 million is worth a lot of money if you use it for something. Using it to own a piece of land, to have an education center, an education agency own a piece of land for 20 years is outrageous, because no one can take that to the bank. So I encourage you to put together a request for a 5-year plan from Gavilan on the 5-year plan on what they're going to do to increase the educational opportunities in San Benito County and to do a better job of educating our public, and how they're going to translate that into jobs. Thank you very much.
There are no other speaker.
Anyone else wishing to address the board on items not appearing on the agenda? Now is the time to do so. See none, we will move on to department head announcements. Mr. CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we do have one out of our elections office. This is from Joe Paul Gonzalez.
Good morning, Chair, Board of Supervisors. I just wanted to announce that the biennial review filing date for the Form 700 is coming up. That's on September 1st. There are 57 filers in the county, and I just want to remind you of that, upcoming deadline. Thank you.
And thank you for that update.
Yeah, we have another announcement out of our library. We have Nora Conte, our librarian here, to give you a quick announcement.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to have a quick announcement and some very good news that I'm really excited about. Thank you, Mary, Vice President of the Friends, for announcing and complimenting the summer reading program. We have a wonderful summer reading program again this year, and thank you, board members, because I know that you also get the word out about the importance of reading during the summer. But the exciting news that I wanted to share with you is that because of our broadband expansion and because of our faster internet and because of our self-check machines, I'm looking at expansion of hours, and I will be going through the appropriate channels for that. So that was my great announcement for today. Thank you.
We also have another announcement coming out of our Ag Commissioner's office. We have our Ag Commissioner, Karen Overstreet, here.
Good morning. I just wanted to announce that we have completed our annual crop report for calendar year 2015, and to let you know that our agricultural industry continues to thrive. This year's crop report crop year surpassed 2014 by about 11% for a record high of $360 million. We'll be releasing the crop report via our county webpage on the county website. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, we have another announcement out of our RMA office. We have Brent Barnes here to give a quick update.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. A couple of things briefly. I had a really good meeting with the Hollister High School District to talk about the regional park and expansion of roadways there to accommodate growth on the high school campus. We're preparing responses to the draft environmental impact report that was circulated several months ago. We expect to have those responses prepared within a couple of weeks and meet again with the partner agencies within about 30 days. So it's a pretty good partnership we have going. Also meeting and discussing with Hollister School District, the K-8 school district, an umbrella MOU for joint use of park and school facilities. This would facilitate situations where, such as Santana Ranch, where we have a school adjacent to a park that will be built, and overlapping uses on that joint campus. We'll create an umbrella MOU for district-wide, county-wide facilities, and then specific agreements for each park school site that we wish to share. Finally, excuse me, I owe you a general plan and implementation update. I'm going to bring that as an agenda item on the 9th of August. But I do also want to report in that regard that we have interest in the CR zone, the new CR zone, which is the regional commercial zone, the 4 nodes on Long Highway 101. And so we're actively working to prepare code provisions for that. I expect to advance that to the Planning Commission probably in September for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes.
We have another announcement out of our Health and Human Services Agency. We have Jim Riding-Sword here to give you a quick update.
Good morning. So just to update, this is on homeless programs. The 2014 CDBG grant, we have met all the conditions, and they are going to reimburse us for the expense that we put out to purchase the 1161. So that's done. Later today, we'll be presenting a 2016 CDBG grant public hearing. Because we met the conditions, we're eligible to apply for that grant. And then thirdly, the state has asked us to apply for what's called over-the-counter CDBG funds, which are funds that can be used for economic development, for low-income activities. In this case, we're looking at activities such as high-tech recycle centers and so forth. So just wanted to let the board know that those 3 things have happened, and we'll be talking to you later about 2016 CDBG.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. We also have an announcement out of administration this Thursday for staff. We're going to have a county-wide barbecue. So that's Thursday the 28th between 12 and 2:30 p.m. Make sure that staff and the board is present for that. It's going to be a Vets Memorial Park and Memorial Drive. The other thing is with regards to the budget, we did talk about bringing that item back, or the adoption of the budget back August the 9th. That'll actually probably be more in September. There's an item that we're working on that we need to address, so we'll be coming back to your board for board adoption at a later date. And the third item out of administration is we hired a new analyst, management analyst. I'd like to introduce him to him. His name is Louis Valdez. I'd like to bring him up to the podium, say a couple words if you like. But if there's any needs from the board or from department heads in particular, he's our management analyst who's taking the place from Sarah.
As well as the public, take a good look and send all requests to Mr. Valdez.
This is. Can I steal the clerk? No. I want to thank the CAO and the board. It's a very exciting opportunity. I'm looking forward to the challenge. I'm pulling double duty at this point between the clerk's office and the management analyst. However, I can report that I had the singular pleasure of traveling to Sacramento with Supervisor Munzer to attend the OHMVR meeting up there, and I'm really looking forward to engaging all of the different policy issues with the board. There are still some other issues internally that I'm working on with the auditor's office and administration regarding the contracts and the ERP and laser fees. We'll continue to follow through with those. So I'm very excited, and I thank you for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis. And with that, there's one last item. I'm not sure if the fire chief is here. Is he here? I'd like to bring up Kevin then, in lieu of the fire chief not being here, just to give a quick update with regards to fire. This is Kevin O'Neill. He's coming up right now? Okay.
So, good morning. I'll stall for just half a minute. Basically, the Chief's going to give you an update on the status of the SAFER grant firefighters. So, without any further ado.
Morning, Chair. Morning, Board of Supervisors. Okay, so I guess the big topic is the staffing level. All right, so as of July 22nd, we went ahead and laid off the 12 firefighters. We're still waiting for word from notification on the grant. FEMA has started awarding these grants. I want to say it was 2 Fridays ago. And first round came out. There's going to be 5 rounds. They've got to expend as much as $300 million within a 60-day period. So that would be September 30th, the end of the federal government's fiscal year. So right now there's 2 rounds that have been expended at about, let's say 8 to 12 awards apiece. And we've got 3 more rounds to look forward to. I'm looking forward to this Friday and next Friday. If we get awarded it on Friday, the 27th, we'll be able to put them back to work on Saturday, because the date that they award it is the date that they will backdate us for the funding. If not, we'll wait until the Friday after that. We're strong contenders in this county. We're strong contenders for the fact that not only are we current with the same information that we put in the last application, but we're also increased in population and our call volume. So that brings us up to the top. I remain optimistic. I'm just waiting for the federal government to get through all of this stuff with the general election taking place. It's hindering the process, but we're waiting on word at this time. Any questions for me on that matter?
Any questions from members of the board?
Yeah, like you, I'm optimistic we'll end up getting it. I really believe that. But I think, through the fire committee and the 2 cities involved, we'll have to start planning ahead to maintain a staffing going forward into the future, and how we're going to structure ourselves working together to accomplish that. And hopefully we'll get to that type of discussions at the fire committee.
Absolutely.
Level, and move forward to bring that information back to our boards, and I have a stronger sense of urgency.
Yeah, I believe so too. I was reading the contract, and it says that within the first year we're going to start talking about either a joint protection agency or a fire district. I'm glad that it's captured in the contract, because we could start addressing those matters as soon as possible. Talking about the intergovernmental portion of the fire district and the JPA, I think as soon as possible is probably the best bet for this.
Yeah, it's fair to our citizens and fair for our employees, too.
Absolutely. I've already established some mutual aid agreements with the outlying agencies. Unfortunately, when I did that, it gave us the opportunity to start initiating those resources to coming into our county. Yesterday, we had a total of 4 incidents within a time span of 45 minutes that culminated a span of 1 structure fire, confirmed structure fire. We had a medical aid in San Juan Canyon, and we had a not a head-on collision, but a collision on Fairview and 156, and a diabetic emergency in town. All within the same time. I requested 2 resources from Santa Clara County. They were able to provide support. The Monterey Cal Fire Unit couldn't provide support because obviously you know that they're very busy in the Serranis incident, and that's a unified command. So with the agreements in place, it works to provide reciprocal support. We do with them and they do with us, and it just worked out yesterday by chance.
All right, Chief. Well, thank you for your update.
All right, not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Fire Chief. That's it. Those are all the announcements.
Okay, so moving on to item F, which are board announcements. Look to my left, Supervisor Barrios.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to congratulate our clerk of the board and wearing 2 hats. I appreciate what you do, like a lot of our employees wearing numerous hats. I appreciate that hard work, and thank you for taking it on. The second thing is that Supervisor Munzer and I have been attending the mobility partnership meetings in Gilroy, and there's a lot of conversation. There's going to be a lot of outreach to the community in regards to Highway 152. They're going to do it sooner than later so that we can start getting input on how they feel about, the alternate routes, about tolling, and everything that has to do anytime you put in a bypass. So that continues to move forward.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Dela Cruz.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Last week I attended the COG meeting, and we got a good education on the STIP funds and how they're distributed to San Benito County, and it wasn't good, bottom line. And also Highway 156 is going to take longer to get built, and I was real close to asking my fellow Supervisor Patella if he wanted to put on bet on if he'll get built or not, and he might actually be winning on that case. It's just sad that the state of California just doesn't give us more transportation money. They give an array of issues why, better cars, better efficient cars, better alternative use of energy cars, all that stuff. But us small San Benito County continues to suffer. In fact, in back of this, one of the unions that says "Fix all roads" it's a slogan that at the last CSAC conference, every member of all the 58 counties have asked that we send letters to the assembly members and the state and the governor to, stop cutting our road money and start supporting our local roads, because it's very important. And also, I'll make a presentation at the next board meeting, Mr. Chair, on the NACO conference. But one thing that I really like to share with the public and with my fellow supervisors is that Greg Koch got elected as the second vice president to NACO, which is very important for San Benito County because he now represents the United States nation organization of all supervisors, and we, San Benito County, will be part of that picture. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Supervisor. Supervisor Munzer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As Louis mentioned, he and I did go to Sacramento. We addressed the State Department of Parks and Recreation at their workshop. What they were doing was discussing the organizational structure changes within the department and how that affects the off-highway motor vehicle program, which runs Hollister Hills. We stated that Hollister Hills was very important to this community and the recreational opportunity that it provides. In that frame of mind, I would ask, with your indulgence, that we have at our next meeting an agenda item for a letter of support for H.R. 1838 addressed to Senator Boxer's H.R. 1838, which is a Clear Creek Management Bill, has passed the House of Representatives and is now before the Senate, and I would hope that we would send a letter to Senator Boxer, signed by the chair, stating our support of that.
So I think that's a good idea, but if we can also get a copy of the bill, see what it says, I think it would be important as well.
As Supervisor Barrios mentioned, she and I do attend the Mobility Partnership Committee, and I feel we need to also agendize something again, with your indulgence, Mr. Chair, in that this board took an action several years ago to support the northernmost route. All the routes are being considered again by the Mobility Partnership, and I think we need to free up the members of this body to review the pros and cons of all the routes again, and I feel that this board needs to take an action to give us the freedom to do that, and also to discuss the different funding mechanism for building both 152 and Highway 25 in light of Measure P failure.
Okay.
So if that can be agendized also.
So I think what we probably have to do is dig through those minutes, and I want to say we had made a recommendation and a letter was sent to the Mobility Partnership, I believe. So let's pull all that stuff, and then we can reconsider the action that was made a few years ago. Thank you, Ray.
And the final thing that I have is I received notification that Caltrans is basically doing pothole repair on Highway 25 from State Highway 146 north to the San Benito Bridge, and so there'll be traffic delay down there. With that, that's all I have. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks, Supervisor Munzer. Supervisor Botello.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Valdez, congratulations on your new position. There's plenty of hours in a day for you to accomplish both jobs. Anyhow, you'll be very successful in both of them for a time being. I agree with Supervisor Munzer. I think it's time to have that discussion again at this board level as far as what we're supporting for state highway circulation and how we could move forward with our partners in that effort. And I requested the explanation on how that STIP funding works. And it's just a shell game, which the state is very good at doing. But I do believe that 156 eventually will be built out. It's just take a couple of years as the state gets their project in line. I attended a regional park meeting with representatives from the high school district, City of Hollister, and our staff that has been working very hard on the draft environmental report, as the RMA director reported during department head announcements. We have to be a little bit more diligent and schedule regular meetings with all the agencies involved in that to be able to keep that project moving forward, which I think will become a great asset to the San Benito County. And I attended a business council meeting, and those are always fun for elected leaders and staff that go to that organization's once a month luncheon. I was the only one there that this time, and took on the hard questions, which was fine. I was able, but it lent me the opportunity to meet the new president of the Gavilan College District. And after the meeting, I had the opportunity to chat with her with my discontent with the college district, to the point where, personally, as a taxpayer, I feel that we should pull out of that district. And I was heartened in the fact that she seems to be a pretty reasonable person, and she has a different view of how she intends to serve the entire district, including San Bernardino County. And I discussed this with the chairman of the board here, that perhaps we should try to get in touch with her and her people to make a presentation, make an introduction to this Board of Supervisors, and very much like Mr. Richmond suggested in public comment, that we move forward with a plan on how we're going to work together in a positive manner to bring a higher level of education to our young people, and what we could do to repair some of the relations in the community. And I think we should give her that opportunity. So, I'm going to just follow up publicly, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I think if we can extend an invitation to her.
Yeah, we can do that.
She's more than welcome to come to any one of our meetings to introduce herself. And,
yeah.
And we'll give her the appropriate amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's my report this morning. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Patello. The only announcements I have is I first want to thank Mr. Valdez. I think you'll do a great job. I think you've done a great job as a clerk. You've done so much to update our processes and our technology. So we owe you everything for that, and I think you're going to do a great job as an analyst. And then I just want the record to show I'd like to adjourn our meeting today in memory of two individuals. The first is Gino Cotter, who was a friend of mine and someone who passed away. He is somebody that had a significant impact on the youth in San Bernardino County, and in our region and in Northern California, and he's certainly going to be missed. And the second individual is unfortunately someone that has left us far too soon, and that was the unfortunate death of young Giovanni Gonzalez, otherwise known as Gio. He is a student I worked with at San Bernardino High School, and so he is. I certainly want to extend the condolences to his family. But if we could adjourn our meeting today in their memory, I would appreciate that. Okay. So moving on to a consent agenda, it's been requested that we momentarily pull item 24. So we'll take that separately because Supervisor Munzer has to recuse himself from that item. Are there any items from members of the board that they would like to pull from consent?
Number 18, Mr. Chair, only because of a name, wrong name on the resolution.
Okay, so we will pull that one. Any other items? I'd like to open up to the public for any items that they may wish to pull or comment on. See none, I'll bring it back to the board.
15.
15, okay. We'll go ahead and pull 15 at this point for a member of the public. Okay, so with the exceptions of 15, 18, and 24, I'll bring it back to the board for a decision.
Motion to approve amended.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Clerk? So at this time, we will revisit item 15, which was pulled by a member of the public, which is coming from our Behavioral Health Department.
Good morning.
So I guess how we would approach this, maybe, Alan,
Yeah.
if you could give us a quick summary of this item, and then we'll open up to public comment.
Yes, this is a mental health nurse who left our employment, and currently we've been on a string of
mental health nurses that are leaving, and it's not because they don't like the employment. In fact, two of them have mentioned to me that they wouldn't have left, but it was for the money. So we are incurring an impaction of issues regarding the competition for actually other service provider staff as well as nurses. The typical ones would be the licensed professionals. And I think to a large degree that's attributable to the Affordable Care Act and the expansion of health care coverage. Recently I heard data that said 1 in 3 people in California now have health care coverage. So we're seeing competition for service providers. These people can get jobs at many different locations, outpatient clinics, emergency rooms, crisis centers, trauma centers. And they're going to those places because we can't outmatch those salaries. And so for the mental health nurses, they're very much in high demand. So we had a mental health nurse leave for the money. And she's willing to come back on an extra help basis. And I have had discussions with HR on this. This is a forward-looking action. It's not something that's already occurred. I'm here asking your permission to do this. And we have salary savings to pay for the PERS contribution for this person for as long as she's willing to do this. And of course, we need to stay under the extra help hourly cap. It's set for on an annual basis of somewhere roughly around under 1,000 hours. So I'm doing the best I can to cobble together the resources on a very needed service, medication support services. As you know, we have the same problem with psychiatrists. We're the only agency in the whole county that provides medication support for psychiatry issues, so there's high demand for it, and it's on a professional area that has an impaction to it.
Okay. Well, thank you for that brief introduction, Alan. Are there any questions from members of the board? Jaime.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Alan, I'm a little concerned on the second sentence where you're saying the BH department has experienced repeated departures of MH nurses. Are they just leaving because of better pay, or is it work environment? Is it the
Well, it's absolutely been better pay. The last two, as I have expressed, have literally told me they wouldn't have left if it wasn't for the money.
So is this a trend? Is this a trend that we're going to see moving forward, where our county employees are leaving everywhere else?
It could be with certain professions, particularly the direct service providers in this area.
Okay, I just want to make sure I don't see the tip of something that's coming around the corner.
Well, I think you are seeing the tip of something that's coming around the corner. You look at our mental health clinicians, for example, and typically we're getting people at the intern level. Once they get their license, which takes 2 years, 3 years of supervision, and passing 2 exams, they become prime targets for other recruiters.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I've actually, one of my things that I do is I actually go talk to the employees at all the departments, regardless of what department it is. And about a couple months ago, your department was the target department, I kind of say it in a funny way. And I sat down with about 6, 7 of some of your employees, and it was not good. I'll be honest with you, Alan.
Well, I don't know exactly what that means without hearing the specifics, but
I'm not going to say much. It's a personnel issue, so I'll just keep quiet at that.
Okay, that's fair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Because I do sit on the Behavioral Health Board, I am aware of the challenges that we have at behavioral health. It's not easy to find qualified folks, and when we do get them, it does become a training ground. I want to say that that's not unique to this department. That is pretty much countywide. That is unfortunate. We're a small county, kind of off the beaten path, and we don't get the resources in the way of sales tax money, any kind of income, property tax that other counties, surrounding counties get. So therefore, it's challenging for us to be able to pay the level of wages that are paid elsewhere. While we have a beautiful place to work, people are really, bottom line, it's about the income, and I don't blame them. So it is a challenge, and I think this would be a temporary solution to a big problem. Thank you.
Thanks, I thank you for expressing that. We're not going through anything that any other small county is not going through. We do have an unusual situation in that I consider our county to be an anomaly. It's considered a Bay Area county. And so you look at the commuting range of our surrounding counties, they're all large counties. And those large counties have large tax bases, and they can afford to pay more money.
Okay, so at this time, I will open up to public comment.
So you're open to order, because I put that in.
Okay. Thank you.
I have to, excuse me. Marty Richmond from Hollister. I have to agree with the comments. We're not competitive. That's not why I stood up. I will talk about that in a minute, but we're not competitive, since you brought it up. And gee, I wonder whose fault that is. So anyway, the reason I brought it up is I have no objection to the specific request. However, you should be warned if you haven't read the Wednesday, July 20th editorial in the San Jose Mercury News, and I know every time I come up here, because I'm a conservative kind of a guy fiscally, and say, oh, we're in trouble, most elected officials have the tendency to say, oh, you know, he's just some kind of right-wing nut who's always yelling that we're in trouble financially. Well, I don't think we call the Mercury News a bunch of right-wing nuts, okay? Maybe we do here. Depends on how far left we are. Here's the editorial. CalPERS has to stop its debt spiral. It now owes $139 billion, the highest amount it's ever owed, which comes out to $11,000 for every household in California, and that is money we have to pay. The workers do not have to pay it. The taxpayers have to pay it, because we have guaranteed them retirement in dollars, not in a percentage return. And CalPERS has been betting on their return to get 7.5%. Don't you wish you could get 7.5%? And they're not getting their 7.5%. Surprise. According to the Mercury News, they haven't got it over 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and quote, at some point one would think CalPERS officials would get the message. The message is they are promising returns that they are not delivering, which means that your CalPERS bill is going to go through the roof. And until you get some revenue-producing stuff here, I don't know how you're going to pay it, because the truth of the matter is this county economically is a hollow shell. If you took out all the money that comes through here from the state for human services, that comes here through the federal government for human services, there would basically be nothing left. The county generates almost nothing. In business tax, it generates almost nothing. In sales tax, it generates almost nothing in TOT, and it gets almost nothing in property taxes. I don't know what else revenue source you have. Maybe there's some secret thing that I don't know about, but I know this. You're going to be hit with a huge CalPERS bill as soon as these guys wake up and realize that they can't carry this debt forever. They're going to put it on your annual requirement to pay. Thank you for your time.
No other cards, Mr. Chairman. Anyone else wishing to speak on this consent item? See none, I'll bring it back to the board for decision.
Mr. Chair, I will make a motion that we approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item 18, which is pulled by Supervisor Barrios.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. The resolution has the name of Robert Hillebrandt in the first paragraph, second sentence, so I just want to make sure that that name gets changed to Kelly Shingai, who we are approving today.
If staff can note that change. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on this item? See none, I'll bring it back to the board for decision.
I will make a motion to approve per staff recommendation with the change noted.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item 24. This was pulled because Supervisor Munzer has to recuse himself.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I need to recuse myself for this item as my wife owns property next door.
Okay. At this time, are there any questions of members of the board on this particular item? See none, open up to the public. Questions or comments on item 24?
Supervisor De La Cruz?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, motion second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 24. We get Supervisor Munzer back.
I'll get it back.
Okay, so that concludes the consent portion of our agenda. Moving on to public hearings. Item 25. This is from the Agricultural Commissioner, Ms. Overstreet.
Good morning. Just to give a quick recap, on June 14th, the board preliminarily accepted the engineer's report to levy the assessment for 2016-2017. We also adopted the resolution of intent to levy that assessment. We're here today to have a public hearing, receive public comment on it, and then adopt a resolution to levy the assessment. With me is Kyle Tankard. He is with SCI Consulting, and he prepared the engineer's report and is available to answer any questions. And just to give a quick recap, what we are recommending is for the assessment to remain the same as 15-16 at $11.22 per single-family equivalent. The budget also includes some carryover from fiscal year 15-16, and then the total number of single-family equivalents has increased, which has increased the projected assessment also. I'm happy to take any questions.
I want to know if there have been any cases. I know that some of the cases have increased where people have been affected by the mosquito. Have there been any in San Benito County?
No, not at all. As far as West Nile, we've had no cases. We have not even had one single dead bird this year to even be tested. And as far as California, I guess there's been 65 cases of the Zika virus, but they've all been related to travel abroad.
Okay, well, good. And I just want to say that the work you do does get noticed. I know this is not something that the community is necessarily, informed about regularly, but I appreciate what you do. It keeps our county safe and healthy, and so thank you for everything, and thank you for the report.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2016-58.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Good morning. We have a presentation. So the purpose of the public hearing today is to receive public comment on the proposed application for CDB 2016 CDBG funds, adopt a resolution, approve submission, authorize the HHSA director or deputy director to accept the grant if awarded, enter into and execute the grant agreement and any subsequent amendments with the state of California, and execute funds requested for other required reporting forms for purposes of administering the grant, authorize the county administrator to execute the assurances pertaining to the grant, and authorize the budget adjustment for the grant funds in the amount of, this says 3.7 million. I think it's 2 million. It should be saying 2 million. Okay? So I'm going to ask Enrique to come up and walk through the presentation.
Good morning, members of the board and the public. Before I start, I want to inform the public that we have a sign-in sheet in the back. We are required to submit sign-in sheets with public hearings. If anyone in the public requires translation, Sylvia Hawkes is here. Si alguien ocupa traducción, aquí está Silvia Hawkes que les podrá ayudar. Aquí adelante. I'll go ahead and get started. So, as Jim mentioned, the purpose of this public hearing is to discuss the 2016 CDBG application and to give citizens an opportunity to express their feedback on the proposed activities. We are required to conduct two public hearings. Today's public hearing is the final public hearing, and the initial one as a planning public hearing was held by the Community Action Board on June 21st. And we had approximately 16 in attendance. They gave feedback, pretty favorable with the activities that are being proposed, which I'll describe in a bit. Just to give a brief background, our department has been receiving CDBG funding around the mid-1990s with a wide range of types of services, and here are some just as an example: to assist the homeless community, domestic violence shelter assistance. There's also received funding in the past for construction of child care facility, job training services for low-income individuals, food assistance also for low-income individuals, construction of homeless service center. This is the 2014 grant that we received. We're underway with that, and youth services, etc. So it always varies, and it's primarily been through public services. So as I mentioned, in 2014 we received $1.5 million for the construction of a homeless service center, public facilities. And the site has been acquired. It's 1161 San Felipe Road. It's right in front next to HHSA. And planning is now underway, working closely with RMA to make that happen, and anticipate a completion date approximately on or around November 2017. So in the state CDBG, actually at national level, it's really to benefit targeted income groups, persons, primarily low-income individuals, limited clientele, which there are some populations that are defined as limited clientele that are medically qualified, including homeless, domestic violence victims, and I believe also migrant farm workers, and there's some other categories. Also eliminates slums and blight, and also services to meet urgent community development needs. So these are the activities that jurisdictions are able to apply for: housing rehab, housing acquisition, real property acquisition, public services, public improvement, public facilities, public improvement in support of housing new construction, and housing new construction. Those in bold are the services that we are applying: public services and public facilities under this 2016 application. So we are applying for a total of $2 million. As Jim said earlier, we've met all the conditions in the 2014, which one of them is a 50% rule. If you remember, we have to spend 50% of the previous grant, and with the acquisition of 1161, we've met that condition. So I'm happy to say that we've met it, and now it makes us eligible to bring additional resources to our community. So of the $2 million, $500,000 is being earmarked for public services. That is a maximum that we could apply under this category. And $200,000 for shelter for victims of domestic violence, $200,000 for operational funding of the homeless service center, and $62,500 for youth activities. What we want to do there is provide scholarship assistance for individuals in need of enrichment activities. Could be in academic support, could be recreation, sports, music, art, theater, whatever they wish to do. We will work directly with a vendor and trying to assist low-income children and youth. And the state allows 7.5% for admin costs, which totals $37,100. Under this application, the $1.5 million.
We have a question for Supervisor Munzer.
Enrique, if we are, if we're awarded this grant, will you come back to us and explain a little bit more about the $62,000 in the scholarship, how you plan to enact that?
Yes, I'd be more than happy.
I would appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Supervisor Dela Cruz.
Thank you. I was going to ask that question too. Also, the 200,000 shelter for victims of domestic violence, is that going to go to the MS house?
If funded, what we will do, we will initiate a procurement, some type of application to allow organizations to apply for these funds.
So not necessarily going to them then, it's going to
it's not. However, we will, or the Community Action Board will initiate this and select the provider that is most qualified in our community. I think we only have one provider.
Okay, all right, thank you, Enrique.
Okay, Supervisor Patel.
Yeah, while we're kind of going up in value of money, public services, 500,000. Specifically, what do you have in mind for that?
For the 500,000?
Right, for public services, it's kind of a broad.
So public services are services that are needs in our community, and based on the Community Action Board survey, these are the ones that are being recommended. So the way that we're breaking that down is 200,000. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's the breakdown.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
So the remaining $1.5 million are for construction rehab of the homeless service center. As you are aware, we did acquire a property that consists at around 12,000 square feet, of which, based on the original application, we wanted to at least think about 5,000 square feet or 4,500 for overnight shelter. So what this will do, we'll expand that to focus on workforce and training center, and this is really in our efforts to help promote skills development and job training and overall sustainability. When you include workforce, that is the real essence of sustainability and self-sufficiency. So we want to focus on workforce development with these funds of $1.5 million. So you'll see here the layout of the building that was purchased. You will note on the bottom. On this side is the shelter that we received during the 2014 CDBG. That is the overnight shelter. That is what we proposed and what we're working with the RMA. What you see in the middle portion is the employment and training component of this facility. And it includes a variety of rooms and training. So one is a computer room that's fully equipped with internet and having our ability to train individuals in different areas. And also a larger training room, the same to bring in trainers to have larger meeting rooms and training rooms. And then there's another room that's a little bit smaller for the same related purpose, focusing on training. And then, of course, we will need office, individual meeting rooms, and other spaces as shown here in this diagram. So that is what we're applying for, and you'll see a future phase. This is a pretty big building, so we hope that in the future we pursue other funds. And Jim mentioned earlier that EO from economic, from HCB's application that they were invited to submit an application. So that could be a future project to include some type of business that we could also engage our clients in this facility. And that concludes my comments, and with information, we could open the public hearing.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments, members of the board?
I have one, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Enrique, I know that when we applied back in the day before we acquired the building, we had some flexibility, which was really good. We didn't have to identify the property. We just had to identify what we were going to do with the money. Is this grant as flexible like the design that you have just shown us? And it's all related to workforce. Are we able to have some flexibility there if needed?
So if there is a need to change the scope, we would need to submit an amended scope, which we did for the current project. The state would need to review and work with us to approve it. So if there's a need, there is a way to modify the scope.
Okay, and I just want to say that because we do have the building, I think it positions us in it puts us in a greater light, I believe, in receiving grant because we have a long-term plan. So good job on everything that this board has done and the department for securing the prior funds, but now moving forward, hopefully we'll secure these as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, I'll open up to members of the public for any comments.
We have Dave White.
Hello, I'm David White. Recently, I had a few emotional blows. I lost my house about 2 years ago, and I had a high school girlfriend. I'm 56 now. Stopped by and spent some time. She had terminal cancer. And my dad passed away. I lost my dog. Two of my best friends passed away. So I'm living in my truck now, and I came to Pastor Linda and Pat's facility on Monterey Street. Just looking for a shower, something to eat, and I find myself being there every day, helping out, and they provide a great service to me, and I hope when it's time for me to leave, that somebody else will step behind me and get the same services that they provided, spiritual and mental, and they fed me too. So I just want to say that whatever can be done to keep them going, I think it would be a great service to people. Thank you. Thank you.
Lisa Lee.
Okay. We can pass on that one.
Okay. Linda Lampy.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and members of the public. It's exciting that we can be here today and talk about that, especially the people that are on the board who know what a long journey that's been of getting that grant, getting the funding. And my husband and I are passionate about changing the face of homelessness in Hollister and San Benito County. We're the founders and the directors and the CEO of Hollister Community Outreach, and we're thankful to announce that we finally are a full official 501c3 and that we have all our insurances in place. And there's been a rumor around that we received funding and money from the county, and that is not true, and we'd like that corrected. And I know that we'd been in line for that, but because we didn't have our nonprofit and our insurance at that time, we could not. So primarily everything that we have done has been out of mine and my husband's pocket. And it just is a model to show that on meager resources that we can make a huge difference in our community. We have a model that we believe is working, and as Mr. White mentioned, we do provide food, clothing, shelter, not in the sense of a homeless shelter, but in a place where people can come during the day. We're open from 9 to 6 every day, 7 days a week. We provide advocacy, but most of all, we provide hope and a way out of drugs and alcohol. We believe that we have actually saved the city and the county, and I don't even know how much money, because to date we've had 83 people that we've helped go to long-term drug and rehab places out of county, since there are very few here, even to the state of Nevada, because we work with a lot of different agencies. I don't know if recently you know that we were nominated and selected as a honoree for the Jefferson Award, and we're thankful for that. And KSBW sent a cameraman out and followed us around for almost a day and did a 4.5-minute presentation. You can Google that on KSBW Linda Lampy and get a little bit of how we interact with probation, with the hospitals, and with the folks that we're ministering to. What we're asking for is an opportunity to present an even bigger and expanded version of what we're doing at 910 Monterey Street, and have an opportunity to share that. I'm so thankful to that Jim and Enrique are here, but also with you folks, because we believe that we do have a model that will work, that can end homelessness and save San Benito County money, as well as saving the lives of the folks that we're ministering to. Thank you all so much for all the work that you do, and I really appreciate this time to share. And by the way, come visit us. I'm thankful for the folks that did. We encourage you to come. Have a blessed day.
Shannon Ingram.
Good morning. My name is Shannon Ingram, and I'm homeless. And I just wanted to say that with the new shelter that is being proposed to be built, I know they're on phase 2. So I know that it's in the makings of having it built and everything as being homeless. It's something that the homeless needs, but also for the community. It's a way for the homeless to be able to be sociable with their motor skills and everything else. They'll be able to go to a place that they can call, not home, but home. And they're going to be able to get resources to get the jobs that they needed. And also, I recommend maybe as being homeless, I understand that sometimes we need somewhere to go to regroup and focus on even having a gym or even a rec room, pool table, something simple, ping pong, something like that, for us to be able to interact and socialize again. Some of us, we know how to socialize, but with the community, we find it hard. So as this new shelter is being formed and is in phase 2, I do recommend it. It's good for us to be able to not communicate with only homelessness, but the public. And we need that. We need to be able to go out to the community. Some of us may not know how to communicate very well with the community as one-on-one. And I think as the community needs that, and I also believe that the homeless needs that also. Thank you for your time.
Benny Samaripa. No. Sonny Hernandez.
Good morning. My name is Edward, and I'm here also homeless. I'm also surviving in my car too. If it wasn't for the help I received from this county, and I'd just say, thank you guys. You guys have just been a blessing. I'm there helping there at Father's house, doing a lot of volunteering. I'm trying to help them as best I can too. It's tough to find work out here. When that man said it well. How can you go find jobs when there's none? I've been traveling trying to see if there's other work out there, like the way things used to be. And let me tell you something. There's work out there, but it's going to be a ways to get there. Wouldn't it be nice to have someone transport to take people, like a workforce, to take you to go to these places to work? A lot of agricultural people do that, and they're called contractors. Now, you talk about a workforce. Well, why don't we start taking them to work and getting them that start they need? It just takes a little time. You got a great idea. Everything's working. I just wanted to say thank you. And you're working, and it's working. Believe me, there's a lot of changes going out there, and they just needed a chance. And you gave them all that self-respect back, every one of you. It's going to be hard. They've been through hard times. I've been there too. And it's hard holding my smile because it is hard. And I have to be there for them because they are my community and they are my friend and my congregation too. Well, you all have a blessed day.
Barbara Thompson, not the assistant CEO, but the other Barbara Thompson. The principal. There is more than one.
Is there something we don't know, Barbara?
We knew you cloned yourself.
Good morning, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. I am the principal of Hollister SDA Christian School and a teacher at that school. You may know that we're currently building a new school out at McCloskey and Isabel Lane and expanding our facility. But I want to speak concerning the homeless shelter at my father's house on Monterey. We have had an opportunity for our students to do outreach, and they will wrap utensils and tie ribbons on them or write love notes to encourage the people that when they find them in the pockets of the clothing that they receive. The students have helped fold blankets, and just we're trying to help the young people learn that there are things that they can do for their community. And my husband and I have had the privilege of enjoying seeing services that are offered at my father's house and enjoying relationships with the people that are there trying to get their life together. And I just think this is an admirable thing that each one of you are supporting and helping to come to fruition. It's a big dream and a benefit to the community. Thank you.
And the last speaker card we have is John.
Most of you know me. For those that don't, my name is John Waldemar. I'm one of the residents challenge Hollister. I've got 18 years in the Marine Corps. Okay. Stop looking down your nose at us. Some of us are fairly well educated. Some of us have been homeless our lives. My father was 35 years in the Army. In 18 years, I saw 9 different faces while I grew up. I never sat down roots. Okay, because I didn't have roots to sit down. My home is the United States of America. I'll travel where I want, when I want. It gives me the right amendment, First Amendment of the Constitution. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, I see fit. The ones over the wall are not representative of all of us. Not all of us are drunk and drug addicts. We just like to live the way we want to. There's a lot of us out here who live that way. We prefer it. That's the way we were trained. Okay? Don't be afraid of us. That's the only thing I have to say. Stop being afraid of us. Okay? We're not here to do anybody harm. We're just trying to make a living like everybody else. What my buddy Sonny said about jobs. How many of you see me out there in that street corner at Safeway with my sign that says looking for day work? Okay? Because nobody else will employ me. Thank you very much.
No other speaker cards, Mr. Chairman.
To hold a public hearing, which we have, to adopt a resolution approving and authorizing submission of the 2016 CDBG grant application and authorize the HHSA director or deputy director to accept the grant if awarded. Any questions or comments, members of the? Okay. I'll certainly entertain a motion if there's one.
I will make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. So it's been
Thank you.
requested
Thank
to take a 5-minute break. And when we return, we will begin with item 28, which is from Human Resources.
No, 27.
Pretty short, yeah.
Wendy had to leave because
I wanted to talk to the lady before she left. Barbara, are you going to be here?
Okay, do me a favor. Go over to Janet. She'll grab it. And we'll sign it for you. We need, this is why you need an extra copy of the original. There's a sheet in here that Robert has to sign. And you don't have to be Janet. I want to ask her what he wants is Janet. The original resolution was submitted. Signatures for that.
crowded.
Thank you, members of the board. Georgia Cochran. This item we bring to you today mainly because we want you to hear some of the input and things that we have heard. And I'm going to start and give you just a short chronology and bring you up to speed on where we are. And then we would like to have our two proposers. We'd like to have
Keenan Associates.
I'll take that.
Sorry, to give Keenan Associates a few minutes to speak with you, rather than public comment where they would be limited to 3 minutes, as well as then have Alliant CSAC speak with you as well, and then give you the ability to listen to public comment. So let me kind of start off with where we've been. We started this effort last summer. If you remember, CalPERS had a significant rate increase. We looked at the language in our MOUs. We didn't have the ability to make any changes at that point in time. We have, San Benito County has been participating with CalPERS since 1993. They had a self-funded plan prior to that time that was struggling, and for a host of reasons, the county joined CalPERS. San Benito County is part of the other Northern California group. That has the second highest health care rates in the state of California, with the Bay Area being first. Sometimes we juggle back and forth, but it is, this is a high-cost medical area. So that said, CalPERS rates have fluctuated over time. We've seen, certainly I've seen some double-digit increases, but I did go back and look at the rates since 2008 because that's the last place that we can compare today's plans to plans we had before. Over time, it isn't as bad as what it might seem. I'm not trying to give any perspective of what the board or the county may or may not want to do, but the average has been between 5.5 and 6.5 over the last 9 years in terms of rate increases. Again, we failed. We didn't have the MOU language in place with respect to moving last year for 2016 with those significant rate increases. Obviously, the CalPERS published rates for this year are much lower. I think CalPERS, at least at this point, has woken up to an effort, not just by San Benito County, but by multiple counties, to address that issue. So, at any rate, the impetus to change is still there. Whether or not that's the right decision for this county is not for your board or is not being presented as a recommendation today. But there will be continual rate increases, and I could probably tell you, regardless of where the county goes in the future, that is a given. But with CalPERS, we do not have that control. We don't necessarily have the ability to deal with plan design and those kinds of things. So let me tell you where we circulated the RFP this spring. We did have 2 responders. We had Keenan Associates and Alliant as the representative for CSAC, California State Association of Counties Excess Insurance Authority. Through these proposals, we looked at that. Generally, what we found is the rates are lower with one proposer than another. Not significantly, but definitely lower. Our scoring, when we look at, we did a scoring matrix for our RFP, is to the components upon which we would score the RFPs, and for different reasons, our proposers are in a dead heat. What we don't know is future rates the quoted rates that we have, the difficulty in either group, either Keenan or CSAC, providing us with rates is we have no claims experience. We can't get that from CalPERS. They have to make their best estimates. Ultimately, any future rate increases will be based on whatever our experience is. There are pros and cons with whether the county opts to stay with CalPERS, whether the county opts to enter into a contract with Keenan Associates, or whether the county opts to enter into a contract with CSAC EIA. They all have pluses and minuses. So what we've done, we convened the insurance committee through that's provided for in the various bargaining units MOUs, and began to have them involved. They looked at the RFP before it hit the streets. They've been reviewing. We've been meeting. And usually that would produce a result where we'd be here with a recommendation for you, hey, stay where you are, or move here, or move there. But we don't have a consensus. We do not have a consensus among our labor groups, and they all have differing reasons. They're all valid. None of them have poor reasons for making a preference one way or the other. So we thought possibly that rather than you hear from staff third hand in terms of what staff has been hearing in meeting with these groups, that we agendize this item so that you could see where we were. We kind of described it a little more in detail in the agenda item, and listen to the various speakers firsthand, but also this gives you an opportunity to hear from both of our proposers. And what I do see in this group, which is today, who I would expect will be speaking during public comment, is just, I think I had maybe mentioned this, certainly to someone, that the county does not have, or the retirees do not have a formal retirees association. So we don't have a representative at the table. While they all retired from various bargaining units, there isn't a formal reach out. So this public comment today will also give you the opportunity to hear from some of those folks. Had we had a formal association, we could have reached out to them and asked for a representative. But we didn't have that, so here we are before you today. We wanted you to hear that. Staff will be listening. I believe my gut feel is we'll be back with our insurance committee next week. We haven't formally scheduled that meeting, and then move forward to try to come back to you. So I don't know if you have any questions for me as staff, but again, I'd like to ask Keenan to speak, and CSAC, but also you should know that Jack Wender, the county's broker who represents us, is here if you have technical questions as well, and he has some significant experience and history with San Benito County.
Are there any questions of Ms. Cochran at this time? No? Okay.
Yeah. I think it's important. Georgia, 1 second, please. You know, we had a little discussion earlier about this item, and it's clear to me that we're running real short on a deadline to, if we're moved out of CalPERS. That deadline is August 9th, our next meeting.
Yeah, it's August 15th.
August 15th?
Oh, but
okay.
August 9th for your board to make a decision.
Right.
To
we have
leave
more
CalPERS. Yeah.
And the insurance committee is a meet and develop a recommendation at that time.
Well, part of the issue is we had hoped that that might be where we were today, but without the consensus, it comes back to staff and the board to make, and again, the board makes the final decision regardless. If we had had a complete consensus, this we would not be searching for additional input. We felt this was important so that you could hear firsthand some of the things that we've heard. We haven't heard from everybody either, but we have heard from the Insurance Committee, and I think you'll hear from some other folks as well. And this also is an opportunity for the retirees to speak, and they have not had a voice up until today.
And that's what concerns me a bit, is that we have this meeting where we get information from the two response that we had through the RFP. We have some retired people. I'm sure they're going to express their concerns, but it just seems so compacted to make such an important decision. Considering health care for many families. Now, one of the things I do understand about this process, no matter which way it goes on August 9th, whatever we do, some of the things if we choose to opt out of CalPERS, we're opt out of CalPERS for minimum 5 years.
That is correct. You're absolutely correct. The one thing that we must do on August 9th is have a resolution prepared to send to CalPERS prior to the 15th, and your last meeting is the 9th. Now, I know what you're saying with respect to this being compacted. We've been at this since early March. Keep in mind, CalPERS didn't publish final rates until mid-June, and so that doesn't give a lot of time. It took a little while then to kind of rate the step, meet, discuss, give the labor groups the opportunity to speak with their members, get that input, those kinds of things. So yeah, it is compacted. But that's why we started early to have the paperwork done so that we could have everything together.
Right, and if we opt to stay into CalPERS, we could be still having this discussion and maybe get more information out to everybody, and then be better prepared to opt out of CalPERS at this time next year.
Well, that's true. Actually, we said that last year. We clearly did not have enabling MOU language to allow us to make. We couldn't have done it regardless if the board had wanted it. Didn't have that language. So in this case, yes, we are better prepared this year. Will we be better prepared next year? Possibly. I mean, certainly we know the drill. We've got the drill down. I don't know.
We have the language.
Yes, we have the enabling language in the MOUs. I don't know. Obviously, we're not bargaining with our labor groups right now. I would hope that would be an issue to bargain that language out. But clearly that's up to the board's direction and the labor union as to where those contracts might settle. But I don't know. I think it would be unfair for me to stand up here and say, well, it'd be a good idea to not opt out, stay in CalPERS, and we'll be better equipped. I don't know if we would have any more consensus. So I think we certainly have that opportunity today for input. But if we do nothing, we will be with CalPERS another year. If the board adopts a resolution on August 9th to exit CalPERS, and I want to be a little bit careful here. I think the board could adopt that resolution to opt out of CalPERS and not necessarily finalize the contract on August 9th. And looking at my legal counsel, I would prefer to have these decisions done, obviously cleaned up and tidied up. But I think that's another possibility. But we do have to make at least one decision on August 9th, whatever that might be. And no decision is a decision.
I'm all for making decisions. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair, I'll just put it out there right now. And I know timing is of importance. I did have a member of the public request that if we can have an afternoon meeting to hear from the retirees and hear from other members, other county employees. I don't know if the board was to go in that direction, Mr. Chair. Georgia, is that something that we can squeeze in
Are you talking about a board meeting in the afternoon that?
This item.
So if that's the board's direction, it would have to be before August 9th, or I guess we could do it the evening of August 9th, and then approve the resolution or not. We could have options in front of you. I hadn't quite thought that out, but I think...
Yeah, I'd have to look to staff to see how you guys want to handle that. If it's just a duplication of this item and we get more public, I'm not sure if the request is because we need more time than we need today. I don't know. But
yeah. I mean, I would recommend. I mean, if we need to push this to a special board meeting for timing, then it's something we probably would want to address. I think today we have the forum here to listen to the retirees that have come. If there are more retirees that want to have more input, then it's something that we might have to address at a later date.
Okay. But there's no letter date. Either you set it now or don't set it at all.
Well, I think that we can, at the end of this agenda item, if we do need that additional time, then yeah, I think that we can coordinate schedules and have a special meeting in the evening. I mean, we've certainly done that in the past. So.
And I certainly think that obviously staff will follow the board's direction.
So at this time, I know it's already 11:55. I think that we want to get into the presentations with the insurance groups.
Okay. I'd like to ask Keenan. I believe I just saw them.
Good morning. Obviously, this is a big decision, and first off, my name is Steve Gedstead. I'm with Keenan, and I'm our practice leader. Obviously, there's been a lot of good discussion with the labor groups and staff, and we've come forward here today. Let me provide you just a couple quick overview of some of our thoughts and our proposal and how they can favorably impact San Benito County. One, the organization that you would be joining, the JPA, is called PACE. It is based in Salinas, so it's local. As George had mentioned, there's a significant amount of savings by joining PACE. From what your current rates are, then there's a renewal on top of that. So the savings could be $350,000 to $500,000 of savings, so significant. And obviously, that would be shared between the county and the employee groups, depending on the contribution schedule. But the real question is that was earlier raised is if we join relief PERS, what do we do for 5 years? We're going to have committed for 5 years. So the question is okay, if we're providing a rate and saving some money to the county, is that sustainable? And so my point is, yes, it is. The track record that PACE has had over the last 5 years is an average increase of 3.2%. Significantly less than PERS itself. Now, how does that happen? Because this is a higher cost area than a lot of the other areas in California and certainly San Francisco. Well, one is that the executive director, before he became the executive director, Michael Larson, was the CFO of the Soledad Healthcare District. And so he really knows healthcare. And so in the last couple of years before, and certainly since Michael's been the executive director, implemented some programs to try to really engage and control costs within our area. Because at the end of the day, healthcare is local. PERS is a statewide organization. Your alternatives you're looking at are statewide. But at the end of the day, healthcare is local. Local decisions that your employees and dependents are making. So what's been done to that end? So PACE has put together some contracts with various surgery centers that have been evaluated for cost and efficiency and quality. As an example, in the last year, 85 surgeries have been conducted at those centers. There have been none of them had to be done again, and there are no infections that came out of those 85 surgeries. So cost effective, but also the quality was really good, not having those ancillary problems occur. As example, CHOMP, very expensive facility. Last year there was 20 admissions. 8 of them actually had to be readmitted for infections or something else happening. So the point is that knowing and understanding the local healthcare community, where can efficient, cost-effective, quality healthcare be provided? In addition to identifying those, there are incentives that are created to incent an employee to go to that center. They don't have to. So we're creating financial incentives so they're incented to go there. And so for the right reasons, the employee and the dependent win, and for the right reasons, the plan wins as well. Those programs, that program alone has saved $1 million in this area in the last 12 months. So that's one of the reasons that we're able to have a record and have sustainability for your comfort level. The other is a significant wellness program staffed by local people to provide wellness to your employees. And again, incentives created to do some things that can help provide, get engaged in wellness and be a better consumer of healthcare. So all of this engagement is to help to engage your employee and dependents in their healthcare as opposed to reacting to it, is what's happening today. So from a retiree standpoint, obviously lots of concerns. There's a number of agencies over the years that have taken out of PERS. Retiree coverage is always an issue. We know how to deal with that. I'm actually the consultant for the City of LA retirees, 17,000. I'm the consultant for the County of Alameda retirees, 7,000. We understand retirees, and there's significant different needs there. So with that, appreciate your time and open any questions.
Are there any questions from members of the board? President Patel?
Yeah, this issue, it's really about our employees and how to save money for them, and yet provide the highest and best health care we can have. We have a cap on what we're spent on health care, what the county share is. The rest is on the backs of the employee. So with your program, you mentioned a couple healthcare facilities in Monterey County. I happen to have had something that I wanted to go to Stanford for. I didn't want to go to a hospital in Monterey County. I didn't want to do it locally. It was serious enough to go to Stanford. Now, is there that flexibility in your plans, even though your plans are significantly less costly, that you still have the ability to see the physician in medical care that you want?
Absolutely. Go to Stanford. Depending on the condition, may need to go to different areas for services. Clearly, I think the benefit is having the executive director who worked for a healthcare district understands the economics of it as well as providing the appropriate care. So what is happening is go to Stanford or out of the area, being able to have some dialogue with them and saying, here's the right charge you should be providing, or what are you doing to make sure that you're not being my patient, my employee is not being readmitted. So the answer is yes, with further backup and support.
Thank you. Supervisor Barrios?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Counties I know are not your typical clients. You've got others. I don't know if you have cities. I know you have school districts. Your name is very familiar to me from my Hollister School District, days. But I don't remember at what capacity you were doing that. Is there a big difference with your experience providing this kind of service to cities, school districts that would be different than counties in your experience, your estimation?
Well, it's a good question. Our firm started working with school districts 45 years ago, and that's where the JPA Mixed Sig started here in Salinas, Monterey, San Benito area. So what we've seen is that, yes, there is a difference in demographics between school districts, community colleges, Kaplan's a local client of ours. And so as a result, we have created a municipal county pool as opposed to a school district pool, because the risks are different. A lot of in the municipal and the county, you have safety. They tend to retire early in different age demographics than a community college professor or those in the classroom. So they are different groups. We've had experience with both of those.
Okay, and so I guess my follow-up question would be, the county would be in a different municipality, or not municipality, pool than the others then?
Right. So the PACE JPA is part of the umbrella JPA NICSIG, which started as a school community college pool. And so yes, PACE is a municipality, non-school. Correct. Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Dela Cruz.
Thank you. I guess maybe you answered my question, Supervisor Ario's question. The providers that will be on this network, we're in San Benito County. Would a lot of our customers, I guess, county employees and retirees, would they be forced to go out of county to see a provider? That's just a small question.
It's a big question. So the network being used is Anthem. And so that's the largest provider. You have Blue Shield and Anthem as the primary networks in the state of California, certainly in the San Benito County. And so Anthem is the carrier that we're using in their network. And so many of your employees and dependents are, depending on the plan they enrolled in PERS, are in that network already. So we have found that the Anthem network usually isn't an issue in terms of finding a provider.
Do you have data? The moment a group of individuals join the network, how many doctors in the network have turned down new patients? Do you have any of those numbers, percentages?
Those are available through Anthem. Yes.
Okay. And then to be comparable to or even be lower than CalPERS, I've always been taught, there's no such thing as a good deal. There's always something behind those numbers.
Right.
So I'm a little concerned. I'll be honest with you. I know that there might be some type of comparable rates, but then we have no control year 3, year 4, year 5.
Right.
I'm concerned about that. CalPERS, we're still going with them. We know what we were getting, and I mean, for me, I would like to see, what's our risk, because we're the second highest risk, and it's kind of interesting that you say that you can maintain those risks. And for me, a red flag pops up right away, and that by saying maintaining that risk basically means you're either going to drop services or you're going to increase the copay, the $50 instead of $20 that we pay today. It's going to be a $50 copay. Or services that someone needs will get a higher percentage of denials, and you got to go through a hoop of services just to get an approval. That's
of course, with PERS is that there's two ways that they in their renewals, we're showing 5.5 to 6.9 over the last 9 years. But also there have been plan changes that have occurred in that. So PERS is making unilateral plan changes in addition to providing you a renewal. The difference here is that any plan changes would be negotiated by the county itself. Now we have had a track record, a very good track record of renewals that are less than PERS. And again, that is accomplished by not just because we're looking at. Let me back up. Your rates and that in the JPA are based on the claims plus expenses that determines the rate. We're collectively putting all the different agencies together and then evaluate the total list for renewal. So the question is, how do we control claims? Are we just reacting to whoever goes to the doctor, the hospital, and wherever they go? No. And so that's significant in terms of creating incentives and going to providers that are providing actually quality, effective medicine. I bring up my example before is that if you have 85 surgeries and then 10% of them, 20% have to go back again because they create an infection or it wasn't done right and you have to go back, that becomes expensive. That's more what PERS is reacting to because they don't have the controls at the local level to understand what's going on there and being able to have some kind of control. So it's more than just reacting to a claim. It's rolling up your sleeves and understanding and incentivizing the employees to go to cost-effective providers here, cost-effective providers there, and in the end, we can control costs more effectively, which then impacts your rates. So, example, of those 85 surgeries, last year, that's just last year, saved $1 million on those surgeries. That's a lot of money. That's how you create sustainability for a 5-year period of time.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, we also have representatives here from Alliance CSAC. I'd like to have them come up.
Hi there. My name is Tom Scheer. I'm with Alliant, and I've been working with CSAC EIA, the California State Association of Counties, since 2002 when the Board of Directors of CSAC EIA, in combination with the Regional Council of Rural Counties, came to Alliant, who works on all the property casualty insurance for EIA, and said, can you help us come up with something for rural counties that will be competitive with CalPERS? Since then, we've built a program that is about at least 5 times the size of the PACE program that Keena was talking about. We have 10 counties, 10 large cities, and 130 other courts, community hospitals, small public entities, mosquito abatement districts, and so forth enrolled in the program. We also have a risk-sharing arrangement with a very large school JPA, so that our risk pool is the second biggest healthcare purchasing coalition in California after CalPERS. When we built the EIA health program, we arranged it so that the governance Alliant works for as consultants to public entity employees who make up a board who gives us direction and tells us what to do. So this is not a Alliant program. It is owned and managed and governed by public employees. The track record, the goal of the EI Health program is to beat the rest of the market in a sustainable and fairly predictable way. We wanted to have the advantages of the scale of CalPERS with the flexibility of a member-governed program. So what we've been able to accomplish very low administrative expense, very low insurance costs, with the rate stability of a pool that has thousands and thousands of people in it, and tens of millions of dollars of claims reserves when we need them. Our goal for we've taken 2 counties out of CalPERS over the 15 years the pool's been around. Calaveras County back in 2004 and Lake County in 2011. In both instances, the rates that we gave those counties were slightly below, close to 5% below the CalPERS rates. The reason we price this based on independent actuarial review based on review by the members, based on review by the underwriters or their partners in CISC, and our own staff. And the goal is to come up with a starting number that we think will be sustainable over time. The worst thing that could happen is we give you too low a rate and your next three renewals are 15 or 20%. That's the last thing that we want to happen. We're looking for a predictable, sustainable, reasonable rate of change over time, because your rates are going to go up after you join the program at some point. The way our plan works is the first year you get a guaranteed rate. The second year you get the pool rate increase, because we don't have any data about you. It takes 18 months or so to have data. The third year, your rates would be a blend of your own claims experience and the pool claims experience. And so you depend to a great degree on how well the broader program is doing. And we've got a track record over time. We presented information about Lake County and others where we're beating the average CalPERS rate increase over time. What's the leaving CalPERS is a really big deal. We have given proposals to 25 entities over the last few years to leave CalPERS, and 2 or 3 have actually done it. The commitment that we make to members is that we need to help you provide health insurance coverage to your actives, your non-Medicare retirees, and your Medicare retirees. The goal is to have everyone have the most affordable coverage that they can have. And the big advantage of moving out of a CalPERS monolithic uniform set of benefits type program is that you can have some flexibility and have your own plan design. If you want most of the time what happens, and Lake County is a good model. Am I okay?
You could wrap up.
Is that okay? So Lake County is a good model. Lake County came out of CalPERS, matched CalPERS benefits for a couple of years. The third year out, they put a new plan alongside. They left the existing plans in place, offered a lower cost, lower benefit plan, and that's the plans that they have today. We meet with the insurance committees every year and management to talk about the way to approach the future. The general position that the EIL program has is as a member-driven program with full transparency. You see all the costs all the time, and we try to meet or beat the trends in the marketplace, and especially CalPERS. Do you have any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Employers, not just counties.
Do you know if any of those decided to go with another insurance group?
Upon leaving CalPERS, no. The folks that we've talked to, so we've given proposals to many employers over the last 15 years to leave CalPERS, cities, counties, special districts, and so forth. Very few actually are able to make the move. And none of them that we're aware of have gone anyplace else than to our program.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any other questions? That's all right. Okay. Well, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I know we're going to open up to public comment. I know prior to public comment, there is a statement that was handed to me by staff that I have to read. While this board will hear this public comment on this particular item, and members of the insurance the committee are welcome to speak, I just want to advise that those members of this committee and any others who may be privy to the details contained in these proposals, that this is still a confidential matter, and specific the details of the proposal with respect to rates may not be shared by anyone from staff or members of the insurance committee. So with that, Mr. Clerk.
We have Laura Nacarado.
My name is Lauren Alvarado, and I'm a supervising auditor appraiser with the assessor's office, and I represent the healthcare committee, and I represent the SEIU employee group. As you know, healthcare costs have impacted us all pretty significantly. It has affected me both personally and professionally. When the health insurance rates increased so drastically, I, like many other employees, changed to per select health plan to save money. As a result, in my case, my family was no longer able to continue seeing our normal family doctor, familiar with our medical histories, because he was not in that network. That was not a decision our family enjoyed making. Professionally, as a supervisor, it has been extremely hard to retain qualified and educated employees due to the huge expense of health insurance and retirement. When hired, an employee's salary may seem okay, until they get their first paycheck and see the impact of huge deductions for insurance coupled with the 7% for their retirement, which used to be covered by the county but also seized. My office in particular is a very specialized office where our auditors and appraisers have to have specific state certifications and continuing education. This adds up to many hours of training for new and existing employees on our part and expense on the county's part. Unless we want to continue to be a stepping stone for employees who are trained by us to gain experience, only to move on within 1 or 2 years of being hired, just to then go to work for other counties with more attractive salaries and benefit packages, it is imperative that we take steps towards the goals of employee retention. Although Keenan doesn't have a widespread history with counties specifically to date, I have spoken with people from school districts who have used them before. They were very happy with them. They actively negotiated the lowest rates and worked with the medical community. Although our retirement plan will not be affected by this opportunity, it will drastically reduce our overall out-of-pocket costs. We hope to encourage you to evaluate the opportunities presented for other healthcare options with the employee's livelihood and the future of our county in mind. Thank you.
Susie Caston?
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Susie Caston. I work in the Child Support Department for the county, and I'm also an SEIU representative on the Health Insurance Committee. County employees have never really recovered from the recession that we had the last few years. Last year's health care increases resulted in many of our members' rates doubling. We're talking $250, $500 to $750 a month. Because of this, our members voted to leave PERS health care, but were unable to because of other bargaining units not agreeing to leave yet. This has been an incredible hardship on our employees. No one can afford these rates, which are set to increase again this year. They have again. And this has contributed to us continuing to lose employees across departments, with many more looking to leave. Based on what we've seen with the information provided about alternative health care providers, it is our position that our members would benefit most from the board choosing to leave PERS healthcare system and going with Keenan as a provider. Keenan's health care rates would provide substantial savings that would bring down employee health care rates to almost the 2015 levels before our contributions doubled. The savings are so substantial that it is highly unlikely that they could rise the following year to the amount that our members are already suffering under. This would provide immense relief for our hardworking employees who are struggling to support our families in this county, and it would help them feel that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. While Alliance rates seem attractive as well, our main concern is that for retirees who do not enroll or who later drop their coverage with Alliant are barred from returning. For this reason, we cannot recommend Alliant as a provider for the county to choose. We hope that the board will consider our position, and we would be happy to further outline our position upon request. Thank you.
Mark Wyrick?
Good afternoon, Mark Wyrick, organizer with SEIU 521. So after 2018, no one knows what healthcare rates will be like for any of these plans. But what we do know is that currently a vast majority of your workforce is suffering under premium rates that range from $250 a month to $750 a month, and that is impacting your lowest paid employees. These rates under PERS choice will continue to increase next year to $270 a month to about $818 a month. People are struggling to pay their bills. They're struggling to pay their groceries. I can tell you how many employees I've met in Monterey County that used to work for San Benito County. I've literally had a situation where I've met a new employee for San Benito County in the new employee orientation, and then seen that same employee a month later in Monterey County over a new employee orientation. When employees start here, they get sticker shock from seeing the salary they thought they would be getting, and then seeing how much is deducted for health care and retirement. What the county offers its employees in terms of compensation and health care benefits is forcing many to have to consider employment elsewhere in order to ensure the well-being of them and their families. And it's no wonder that I've met many San Benito County employees who are now working for the city of Hollister or now working for the county of Monterey. You as a board have the opportunity to provide relief to some of your lowest paid employees, and we look to your leadership to determine how to best do that. Because one way or another, what your employees are bringing home in take-home pay is not enough to sustain them. Thank you. Thank you.
Judy Johnson.
Honorable board members, it's nice to see all of you today. Staff, concerned members of the public. I'm Judy Johnson, a resident in Hollister and a San Benito County retiree. I'm glad I'm not in your seat today. Goodness. In considering a decision to potentially change healthcare providers for current employees and retirees, as your staff has stated, the rates may be lower for the first year or two, but the county has little control beyond that, as premium rates will be determined by actual utilization of services by employees and retirees. If the rates increase following the first year or two, the county is still barred from returning to CalPERS for 5 years following their exodus. The earliest return date, as has been stated, for CalPERS would be January 1, 2022. It's important to note for everyone that the system currently in place is not perfect, but it is working well. New insurance provision groups who have targeted residents of San Benito County have ripped into town with a myriad of gifts, promises, and individualized attention. Many did indeed join that service, and they subsequently have found a very rocky road of medical service provision, with previously undisclosed requirements such as contacting their own physicians to ascertain coverage for each visit, being told now, not then, but now, that the essential service, such as injections, are not covered, with the resultant confusion, dissatisfaction of people giving up and thereby missing crucial medical attention and supplies. CalPERS service is not perfect, but it is a known quality and quantity. In your considerations, I urge you to recall the essentials of your own mission statement. Recognize the public trust it holds. On all occasions, conduct business with honesty, integrity, and respect for the individual, holding the organization of county government to the same standard. You all have an important decision to make. My hat's off to you, and I thank you for your attention. If you have questions, I'll try and answer. Before I sit down, I want to remind you that today we have a great occasion in San Benito County. It's Clara Betancourt's 100th anniversary. Many of you know Clara or her family, so please wish Clara the best.
That's my aunt, 100th birthday.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Ellen Campos.
Good afternoon. My name is Ellen Campos. I work at the District Attorney's Office, and I'm here as the president of the Management Employees Group. I have with me Kathy Postigo. She is our secretary. Kathy was the one that was able to attend all the insurance committee meetings for our group because I think they deliberately set them to conflict with my schedule, so I couldn't attend either. But what I was able to do was solicit input from the members of our group through email, outlining for them the pros and cons of the different groups. And I just wanted to let you know our group overwhelmingly is in support of staying with CalPERS. Basically, we agree with Mr. Vitello's reasoning earlier when he was discussing the concerns about making a decision this year versus next year. I want to point out PERS Select appears not to be going up this year, so employees could switch from PERS Choice to PERS Select and not have the rates go up next year. We can always revisit this issue if we need to in 2017. Also, we want to point out the retirees. We have concerns about the retirees. They're not represented by a bargaining unit. But there are concerns about leaving. A lot of them have concerns about leaving PERS. We are all going to be retirees at some point, I assume, unless we leave this county for better salaries somewhere else. The concern we have about EIA is the 7.5% fluctuation based on the use by the insurance pool. And again, as was brought up earlier, the retirees are barred from returning if they drop out. The concern we have with Keenan is we understand they encourage patients for major surgeries possibly to seek services out of the area in order to save costs, and we're not clear what the impact of this program is on the retirees as well. The last thing I want to say regarding our group is, regarding this issue is, the leader of the DSA is not is here, but he's not going to be speaking to you. But he did ask me to tell you that their group also supports staying in PERS. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think I have a question. I'm sorry. So your bargaining group is in favor of staying with CalPERS, and obviously we're all taking, in the last 2 years, we're taking a 25% increase in cost, which has dramatically hurt our lower paid employees. And from your perspective and your group's perspective, what would it take as far as assurances from the RFP respondents to maybe change that position where you'd feel a whole lot more comfortable moving out of PERS?
Do you have a comment about that? I'm going to let her address this. She went to the meetings and saw the presentations.
Well, there's just like the one thing that we had with CSAC. There was a 7.5% that could fluctuate up or down depending on your individual group's experience, I guess you would say. But then it could also, whatever the whole group of it could also. So it could actually fluctuate more than that 7.5% up or down. The thing with no, I read it again. Read the proposal again. Anyway, and then also, I lost my train of thought.
Well, I can say again, we have concerns about the impact on the retirees. That's a big concern that we have. So more solid information about how these other plans are going to impact them would be important to us.
Okay. Well, you have one more meeting, I guess, before it comes back to this board where we have to make a decision, and maybe some of those edges could be worked out.
Yeah, well, I've actually with the PERS Select is not increasing this year, and it's kind of basically it's the same amount. So there's no change in the PERS Select. PERS Choice is going up, but all of the medical, even the California Care is also increasing, like 27% also. So there's big changes on all of the insurance.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. So, Mr. Clerk, in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to break. We'll re-adjourn at 1:30, and we'll pick up where we left off. Thank you.